So today I'm going to share with you one of the rarest axes that's ever come into my possession, the Marbles No.5 Pocket. Flat as we can without that out. Here it is. Look at that. The Marbles No.5 American-made pocket axe. 9 ounces of glory. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen? What a treasure this is. Never have I've seen them online, never had one in my possession. So, as many of you know, I just returned, or my family's still there, I just returned from Wisconsin, and this was gifted to me by one of my subscribers, and I didn't get his permission to use his name online. You know who you are. Chime in the comments if you'd like to be part of this. Gifted this to me. And he was a little ashamed to say that, you know, just like many of us, and I am guilty of this too, abusing some old tools because I didn't really understand the value of them. And he had used this for a long time. He's had it for a while and used it for a wedge. I forget, wedge, doorstop or something, and he would pound it on it a little bit. And I don't know if all of this mushrooming was directly from him, a result of what he was using it for, or if it was, maybe it had come that way. But that's okay. You know, I've looked it over all morning, and I don't think it's an issue. And I think we are not going to have too much trouble restoring this because of the design of the axe, and it's got some pretty heavy cheeks on it, and it's a pretty small axe, but I don't see any cracking. I don't see any issues with the eye of the axe. But is that not the coolest thing? You can see right there. Maybe you can see. Says there, Marbles, made in USA, the No.5. Super rare. Man, that is really cool. So, you know what might be more appropriate? I had a piece of maple here. How about we feature it on this beautiful piece of Tennessee hickory 8/4. Nice. Hard to find this stuff. Many of the guys that I talked to at the fair said they were having a hard time sourcing flat sawn Tennessee hickory 8/4 with a live edge on it. But this here, why I'm sharing this with you, this is going to be the handle for this lovely, lovely little axe. Now, one thing I was glad that I did is I went online and I looked at a few pictures here, and I'll put them up here on the screen and share them with you. When I was originally looking at this, I thought, oh, what a shame. Someone has taken a drill and they drilled out, or they increased the size of the eye there, and I thought, no, why would someone do that? That doesn't make any sense. And so this morning, as I was thinking about prepping for this video, I thought, well, I'm going to file all those out of there, and I think I've got enough material where it'll still be strong enough because this is such a small axe. But unfortunately, I found this picture and several like it. This is the way that it came. How interesting is that? If you look down there close at the bottom where the handle is coming in, you'll see that that is all the carving work, that was the original design of the head. And that's not going to be easy to duplicate. Never have I ever made an axe handle like that before, but we're going to do it together. We're going to find out. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Interesting thing about these marble axes, here's another picture I'll put up, that these had kind of a very clever safety, kind of it's kind of a scabbard that was included in the handle that folded up and then covered the blade. Really a nice little design, actually. I believe Marbles is still making these axes. I think that they're still for sale. The quality of them, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if it's just a facsimile, if it's a good facsimile, I just don't know. Maybe you have more experience with that than I do, but this is a good one. Am I going to try to duplicate that handle with the integrated scabbard? No. No, I'm not. I've not been a big fan of that. I don't know, maybe some people are. I don't like it. I like just a traditional handle. But this is going to kick off a really fun series that we can do, and to turn this into something that's really special. And I don't think it's too far gone. Not at all. I think it's going to be just fine, and I don't think that this is going to be a difficult problem at all. So let's start there. I think that's a good place. So, just as we look at the cheeks on the axe real quickly here, it has had a little bit of filing on it, but not very much. It still maintains its shape. We got a nice symmetry there on the edges. It just needs a little bit of work. Not much at all. I mean, pretty easy to work on a little axe like this. Little surface rust. Few little, you can see little vise marks or tool marks in there from it being clamped in a vise, but nothing that would prevent this from being a very, very special little axe. So let's get started and see what we can do on the mushroomed pole. So we've got to put this in the vise so it holds really securely, because we've got to put quite a bit of work on that. We want to be able to really lean on it. I do have these neoprene, or they're not neoprene, or some sort of a hard rubber soft jaws, but those are not really all that suitable for this where you need to do heavy work, because there's quite a bit of movement in it. The tool moves back and forth, and I don't like working. I like to have a really solid lockup. I don't want to close it into the jaws itself, because we'll contribute to the tool marks that are already in there. That's not going to be a really good option. One thing that I need to do is that back when I was in metal shop, we had a great metal shop back in high school. Our teacher, Mr. Ramsey, he was quite a guy. He had made brass jaw covers that were just kind of the shape of an L, and then we would lay them in there, and then you could close and you could clamp onto things and without marring them, because the brass is so much softer than the steel. I gotta make some of those. I gotta kind of keep my eye open for sheet brass. I never have come across it. So in the meantime, we'll just make some hardwood jaw blocks so that it'll hold it fast or hold it firm, and then it won't come apart, it won't come out on us. So I've got this piece of maple left over from our countertops, and let's cut a couple pieces of that, and then we'll have a nice protective, or jaw protectors. I came home last night from our trip with a very nice surprise in the shop. You can see this is just how it was left for me. So here's Jack's quad, and there was a wood sign here that it said saw filers, and we have two young men that are neighbors that house sit for us and look after our dogs when we're gone. Brandon and Joel, and they restored by hand these two beautiful saws and left them here for me. Aren't they nice? It was quite a nice presentation with the crisscross right there. What do we have here? We've got these are really nice, guys. I really do appreciate. This is I just can't see what that one is. Can't see what that one is, but look how nice work they did up on the, well, maybe it says right there. It says if my eyes weren't so bad, I could read it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rivet saw, handles in good shape. Nicely done, gentlemen. Just clean. Here, this is a really good one. Here's a Diston, Henry Diston. Look at the restoration. You guys did a great job. Good job, Joel and Brandon. Or I don't know, Brandon, was this your handiwork? Well, I appreciate it. Let's use one. Should we use one to cut our blocks? Which one should we use here? Well, I'm a Diston man myself. Let's go for the Diston and give it a try. All right, well, we might as well just make our jaws the exact size so they fit, right? All right, so we'll look at this. Well, close enough. We'll cut somewhere in there. I'll make them the same. I wonder how long it's been since old Henry Diston here, this one here cut. Let's see how it goes. Oh boy, feels good. Feels good, Brandon. Nicely set. Boy, what a great cut. He's got it nice and sharp too. Good job, guys. That's a nice tool right there. That's a nice saw. Be careful, don't go through too far. Wow, I'm just pressing really lightly too. This is hard maple. Boy, that is great. Boy, that really cuts. Isn't that nice? Boy, that's a nice way to start out our video series here with a great saw like that. Let's see, we'll come over here and cut this side. At the Mother Earth Muse Fair, I was talking to some young men that were, they were at the time of their life where they were trying to make a decision what to do, whether to go to college or to start a business. And they had some great opportunities, and we were talking about that, and the thing that kind of dawned on me when I asked them the question. I mean, you've all heard it before. If money was no object and you could do anything you wanted to, what would you do? And if you can answer that, you know, that's what I always recommend you do, especially when you're young and you don't have the responsibility of a family and lots of options. And on the plane on the way back, I was thinking to myself, you know, well, how about yourself? You know, if you had to ask yourself that question, what would you do? And I thought about that. And, you know, I mean, if money was no object, really, you know, if you had a trust fund or something, or an unlimited bank account, right? Would it be, you know, house in south of France? Would it be Monaco? Would it be, you know, a yacht? Would it be traveling the world? Would it do all these things? You know, I mean, of course, you know, who wouldn't want to travel? But I mean, I could honestly say, we're going to try to pinch these in here. Get it close there. These will hold that really nice. We want to hold that firm. We don't want it to drop and do any damage. These are so hard to come by. I'll pinch that in there. I should take a moment, maybe bolt them to the vise, but I don't want to be limited by that. Here, this will work here really good. But you know, for myself, answering that question, what would I do? You know, you're looking at it. I mean, I can honestly say that. I mean, of course, you know, probably have a new truck. Might have someone come finish my remodel for me, but I'd be doing the same thing. You know, I'd be working in the woods and getting tractors and maybe get a wood miser and this is spending time with my family. This is where I'd want to be. So you got the pocket head good in there. So what I want to do is we want to be really careful and take our time. I don't want this to look like it's been repaired. We want it to bring it back to its original shape as much as possible. So we'll turn this 4 times and file on 4 sides. So let's go pull it. I think this is deserving for one of my special files. We'll break out a special file. A special acts like the number 5 deserves a special file. I'm breaking into the Wranglerstar file vault. Wait till you see this. What have we got here? What we have here is an original box of the Nicholson Made in USA files. Man, I hate to use them, but I love to use them. I don't use them very often. I only use them on really special projects to, you know, just kind of, what are you going to do? I mean, you don't know. I really like this stuff. If you haven't seen these before, I have shown them before. Still in their original paper. Look at these. You can't. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you can't buy files like this anymore. Brand new. You know, the Nicholson files that they make. Look at the heat treating on the tang. Focus there. You can't buy files like this anymore. The Nicholson files, I mean, they're still around. You'll see them in all the hardware stores, but they are not the same. When you use them, you saw files, you quickly realize it. But we'll make an exception for the little marbles. Okay, we're going to use this file card. If you don't know, file cards for cleaning your file out. So I'm just going to. Oh, those cut nice. It was a little bit hard right there. Look how it cuts. I mean, we're not going to get in any hurry here. There's no reason to get in a hurry. If we make a mistake, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. We've got to take our time now. This is such a small axe. It won't take long. Now, question might come up. You know, why not just use a grinder? Yeah, you could use a grinder. I'm not anti-grinder. I use a grinder in a lot of things, but if you don't have a lot of skill with it, and if you're not super careful, it's so easy to make a mistake. You know, and yeah, if you're careful, it won't heat up. You can easily keep it cool. When I'm grinding, you know, make sure you touch. But there's just no need. I mean, most of us are not restoring axes for production, right? That this is a labor of love. Maybe it's something you found at a garage sale. Maybe it's a family heirloom. There's no reason to rush it. Well, that's cutting nicely. I wish you could still find files like this. It's a real pleasing, it's a pleasurable experience. This is a great file for this because the teeth are so fine that it's not going to I can see the file marks. You know, we're not gonna finish. I've got some nice stones. We'll take a stone and we'll sharpen that. And we'll just kind of have to keep going here and rebuild that contour, that pole. I'm not gonna worry about getting this flat in the back. That's not super important, but I don't want to go too far and scar up the tool. Isn't that nice how that cuts? It's such a wonderful file. Let's give it a little cleaning there. File card is a real stiff bristle brush that takes those shavings away. See right there, see how I've touched that with the file? That's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but when I'm getting to that point now, it's telling me I'm getting close. I'm gonna be really, really careful and be watching to make sure I don't go too far. I'm gonna feel that. I can feel that lip with my fingernail. You can't see everything, but you can feel everything. The old body men, you know, body men even today, you know, how you really determine if the job is done right is you can feel it, because your hands are so sensitive, you can feel everything. So move our work, orient our work in a position where it will be easy for us to file. Now this is the side we're going to want to exercise extreme care, because that's where all of our name is, all of the No.5, America, made in America there. We don't want to scratch that. So we'll just go as slow as we need to go. Now don't be disheartened if you don't have these old files. You don't have to have them. I mean, it's nice, but there's still a lot of good quality files out there. A lot of good Swiss files out there. And even the stuff that you buy, if you have an axe you're working on, and you can do this just fine with a big box store file. It's not that they don't work, it's just that they're just not as nice. That's coming out nice there. Keeping the symmetry there. I'm keeping my finger overhung on the file like this so I don't accidentally tip down too far and scratch that in there. Now we're almost there and we're feeling, watch this split here. It should just start to go away. Couple strokes there. See that? We got another one right there. I can feel my fingernails is not catching really right there. It's catching here, catching there. So we're going to work that out. Boy, don't scratch, don't get tipped down too far there. Keep that finger there as a guide. You want to hold it as flat as possible. We don't want to chamfer necessarily. Well, you might, depending on the axe. Sometimes you do that. We don't, but this one here, we don't need that. So this is about as far as we want to go. I can feel here with my finger. Just a little lip right there, but you can see I'm starting to touch, starting to work up towards that logo. And we'll finish, you know, it's okay. We don't have to get it all gone here. We can, if we start to get up here and start scratching, then we'll finish that up with a stone. It's going to be it's not going to be near as coarse. I'm starting to touch there, but I'm really light. Very light. So with our filing complete, the next thing I'm going to go use is a stone. Now these are my favorite stones for axes. The shape of them lends itself to work with really nice. This one here is especially nice. It's got points on the ends of it. You don't need these. You can get these, you can order these through Edge Pro Apex, the knife sharpener here that's in Oregon. I've got these two from him, so I've got a coarse, I've got a medium, and a super fine. And if you just have a regular stone, you know, an axe stone or just a regular rectangle sharpening stone, it'll work just as fine. These are just a little bit handier, but we're going to go to work now with the coarse. That should be close enough where you should be able to see kind of how the filing was. That's a really great file. Look how smooth it is. You can barely see any of the file marks in it. But I was getting as close as I could, even with my fingers, the guide of starting to touch right there. And that's okay, because we're going to hit this with the stone. But our stone now, we're going to take down that last little bit. And if we touch, you can see here, we're going to have a valley right there. That's kind of a tricky spot right there. We don't want to lean real heavy on this, but we'll have to take a little bit of it down. But we've got to keep going until we get that valley out of there, and until these two high spots, these shiny spots, come in contact with one another. You can see how effective that stone is. It's not damaging the axe. It's just we're going to remove a little bit of material, but we have to, and we'll just keep going. It's not taking very long though. This will take, of course, a little bit longer if you have a larger axe, but a night, evening or two after work in the shop, can have this done. You know, our goal is when we are done with this, you can't really tell that it's been repaired. And for all intensive purposes, it will be as good as new, you know, with even more polished, with a better polish on it. But see how we're coming together there now? We've got, I can just feel the smallest bit with my file, but I didn't want to get in there and start getting up on too far on the axe. The corners are always going to take the most time, but I'd rather stay back with the file, be a little conservative with the file. You know, if you find in here it's just taking too long, we can just grab our file and, you know, and hit those, but it's all right. Now we've nearly got it. That little crescent area is out of there, and you can put a little saliva on there. Works really good, especially on the coarse or the finer stones to lubricate. Look, I dip mine when I get the medium and fine stones. I'll dip it in a little kerosene. But you can see right there that saliva helps to carry away the shavings, keeps the stone cleaner. And that's all of those file marks are all going to be taken care of with the stones. You can see there. Now we're starting to see, last thing we'll do, we'll work on those corners right there, but you can see now we got a nice clean, that's a good look there. You can't really tell when we're done with it, and when we clean that edge up, won't really be able to tell that was ever damaged. So I'm going to go ahead and go back with the soft jaws because they're easier. I need to get those brass soft jaws made. The wood blocks are a nuisance. I don't need to hold it quite as secure for this here. Again, we're going to look here, keep our file handy. We may have to go back to the file, but if we did our filing correctly, we shouldn't have to. So let's take a look at our work so far. We did one of the two edges there. You can start to see there. That looks nice, doesn't it? Here's the filing, the rough edge before we hit the stone. Still got a little crack in there right there. That's all right. We'll file that back of that a little bit too. You can see it's got some damage there from the pounding metal to metal, but we'll work that. We'll roll that all off. But here's the edge, the flat side. Here's the other side. The thing that's going to really take the master's touch and where the skill comes in is to blending all that in. But again, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. We want it to look like it was forged and not like it was ground or a grinder was on it. See how it's got nice, even that coarse stone, it's got a nice polish on it, but when we finish up with the smooth stones, it'll even be better. Not exactly sure how I'm going to make this handle. I mean, there is no automated way to do it. It's going to be a lot of trial and error and carving and just fitting, and it wouldn't surprise me if this handle needs to be fitted 50, 60, maybe 100 times, you know, but that's the way to do it correctly. But boy, that's going to look nice when that's in there, isn't it? So our final step here on restoring that mushroomed edge out is we've got nice clean edges here, we've got top and bottom, all that. We're going to kind of bring these corners together. Now if you need to, you should kind of just do this freehand, very light touch. And we'll just kind of, we're just going to go across here, and we're looking for a nice bright line. We don't want to go very deep. I don't want a chamfer. I like to have hard, clean edges. So these come to a real point. So we want to be careful and not overly remove too much material, but also we'll file until we have a nice bright line all the way across there. You can see, knowing that we've gotten down, you can see right there's a little bit of a little depression. And we'll work that out just a little bit, just not much. Nothing worse than a rounded over corner like someone took a grinder to it. And we're not gonna do this. Not gonna be focus, please. All right, I'll turn you off manual if you're going to do that. Hold on. We'll just circumvent the whole thing there. All right, so we're not going to do this roll over. That's not what you want, but we're going to bring them to a point. So we're going to come along here, building that radius, changing like this. Watching the rust, I want that rusty spot to disappear, and then lay it down here and do the same thing on this edge, and bring them together. Bring them to a point. Now, if you have little imperfections, you know, don't worry about it. You're going to have little spots like that where you're just going to have to, I mean, yeah, you can take those out, but there's no need to, that you'll just go too deep. But what you want, see here, you know, for example, here we've got the logo here was stamped pretty shallow. Are we focused? Try this one more time. There we go. That logo there stamped pretty shallow. And if I were to take all of those low spots out of there, I'd lose the logo. And I don't want that. I want to keep the number 5 and all in there. But I do have good, clean edges on all 4 sides. Right there. This is our last one. We'll do this one together here. Keeping it flat. Pretty flat, rotate it up, bring it over, so that those just come together really nicely like that. That's what looks good. That's the way it would have been done originally. But there you have it. I think I'm pretty happy with this. When we get it hung, we can do any more touching up what we need to do. But you know, we haven't addressed this. We haven't addressed the tool marks and the hammer marks in the pole. That's going to be for next time. What we have done is we've rebuilt or reprofiled, I haven't really built anything, reprofiled that head. Remember how mushroomed it was? But it looks good now, doesn't it? Isn't that nice? And if we did over file a little bit under these corners, that's okay, because we'll get a kind of second chance on that. But that's when we redo that. But that, would you have known? I mean, once we do the fine grinding, once we get the coarse marks out from the coarse stone out, would you know that had been mushroomed and in that condition that it was before? I don't think so. I think we'll be able to, and everything that I've shown you here applies to the big ones. It's actually easier to do on the bigger ones because it's a bigger piece of metal to work with, and it's just easier to handle than these little tiny ones. But I'm really happy with that. That turned out really nice, didn't it? All right, well, that's probably enough today. So, well, we'll work on the pole in the next one, and then I think I showed you, right? We've got a nice piece of hickory here. We're gonna make a really special handle for this one. What it's gonna be or how long, I haven't determined that yet. I kind of make it up as I go, but that's it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the axe video. So on the mentioning the axe video, so I asked in the previous vlog what you'd rather see. You want to see an axe video or the tour of the shop or the studio, and well, it was unanimous. Everyone wants to see both. So you will have it. So I'll mix that in here in a few days, but we'll be working on the axe right now. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Oh, if you think you want one of these, if you haven't stopped this video at the beginning and went on eBay and purchased one, it may be too late. I'd go now if I were you. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning. Got something a little special for you today. Time lapse. Time lapse instead of real time. Which would you prefer? Should we do time lapses? Is that more interesting? Or just let it play as I see it? Oh man, this is going to be a great project. We're going to take our time on it. So pull up a seat, get yourself a cup of coffee, sit in for the long haul, and we'll do this together. If you want to see the end project, well, just check out for a couple days and you can watch the feature length, motion picture length of restoring this beautiful little axe head. So thanks again for watching, and I really appreciate everything. Click the thumbs up if you haven't already. And I always get asked about the little compass that I have on my wristwatch, and I'll put that in our Amazon store. It's made by Suuntu. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I've had it for years, and it's a great little compass. Nice little gift for under $20 on Amazon. So you can go to wranglermart.com, and I'll have that waiting for you there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.